Welcome to Studio 12 in the south end zone of Kyle Field. Will Johnson, Matt Simon with you, and our guest to get us going here today is our Director of Athletics, Mr. Scott Woodward. And I know, Matt, you and I have enjoyed this football season, but I think this man right here in the middle may have a special affinity for it. One thing we are going to discuss here on this show to get going is Texas A&M football. I mean, we were looking at this, Scott, just the other day, or really a couple days ago. A&M, you take the AP poll. It started way back in 1936. So now this is the 11th A&M team to step into November, that all-important final month, in the top 10. In your mind, what does that mean for Aggie football, that they've gotten to that threshold at this point in the season?
Yeah, I don't think of it so much in a historical context, but I think of it about where the program is. And from day one, with my relationship with Coach Sumlin and my observation of the team and of spring ball and of fall practice and the results that we've gotten, I really like what I've seen. And I like the cohesiveness of the team. I like the cohesiveness of the staff, of the support staff for football. And to me, it's not a big surprise. It's kind of an expectation, especially when you have high expectations. So, yeah, or is this going to happen all the time, every year? You would hope so, but not likely. You see a lot of things that change, but this is a very mature, close team, and I like where we've progressed.
And you said something real important there, kind of about every year. I mean, A&M is a great football program, and there's a lot of great football programs around them. You just don't get a guarantee like this that in November you're a part of this conversation all the time. I mean, and I know we see what Alabama's doing these days, but, I mean, go back 10, 15 years ago, Alabama was struggling. I mean, It's just no guarantee that you can get Novembers like this every year.
There's no question about it, and to me, it's great to talk about as fans and as and as all that stuff. But let's have this conversation in December and January,
Right.
and then we'll see where we are, because we still have a third of our season left, and I want it to be a November to remember, and I'm always looking forward to that. So I'm not kind of patting ourselves on the back yet.
Right.
We've had you on the show several times and we've discussed your affinity and your passion for the game of football. I know you really dive in between the white lines and really like to focus in. For you this season, this team at 7-1, and with the schedule they've played, they've clearly done a lot of things right. But on the field, maybe between the lines, has there been one aspect, maybe two aspects of this group, this team that's really impressed you with what they've been able to do on the field?
It's a whole process, and so when you do it right off the field, on the field becomes right, and that's what you see, and it's just translating, and that's whether it's coaching or whether it's belief in your teammate or whether it's the program doing everything right. You just see it, and frankly, Coach and I've talked about this. I don't think the Aggies have put a full game together yet. Mm-hmm. And when we do, it's going to be scary good, I think. And I think there's potential to get better, and that's what I like, and that's what I'm most impressed with, is that there's no acceptance of what you've done in the past. It's how are we going to get better going forward.
Yeah, we had a couple of the players on this last week, and we talked about the Alabama game where they played extremely hard the entire game, but you could argue that they played okay. They made a couple of mistakes that Alabama really cashed in on, but even with all of that, without the fumble picks or fumble six or however you want to call it, they're in the game in the fourth quarter playing. Clearly, they could play even better, and this is at the number one team in the country. I mean, that's pretty impressive too.
Yeah, it is. But here again, we lost, and
we did,
and we want to get past that. But hey, you are correct. You play, arguably the best team in the country. Well, that's probably not something to argue about. But you probably play the best front seven I've ever seen in football, and you have a decent day. And for a couple of mistakes, you're really in it, and you really have a chance to go into the fourth quarter and compete. And there's something to be said there. But here again, We need to win, and we need to get better, and we will. And we'll continue to recruit well and continue to progress to get to where we want to get to.
And you said something earlier there about what is very pertinent, that there's not an acceptance of where they are. It's an everyday process of trying to get better. And just an instance going into halftime Saturday. I mean, you've got a 24-3 lead. You've built a comfortable advantage on New Mexico State. Quite frankly, Kevin Sumlin wasn't real happy at halftime. He mostly pointed out the deficiencies of the first half. So, and you also mentioned your relationship you've built with him. Is it that kind of talk from him that you like, that impresses you, that there is no resting on any laurels? It is truly an everyday process of improvement in his mind with that program.
Absolutely, and that's what you like to see, that it's not ups and downs. It's a process, and it's a time, and believe in yourselves, because frankly a lot of people don't believe in us, and that's fine, and we'll continue hopefully to show the naysayers wrong. But I like this team. I like the way they're being coached and taught, and what they're doing, and it's fun, and I want it to continue to be fun.
Mm-hmm. And, yeah, his level-headedness is what always, he's a stoic guy. It seems to me Kevin Sumlin is, and just you get to see him on a basis where a lot of people don't, maybe behind closed doors. I mean, your take on Kevin Sumlin, almost the guy when you get off the field that people don't get to see a whole lot.
Yeah, it's like everything I believe in and have believed in this enterprise is that you're first and foremost a father, a son, a brother, and you have that family tie and what it's all about. And then you're an administrator and you're part of something great. And that's my test. And Kevin Sumlin is that kind of guy. Whereas, hey, I would like for this guy, God forbid, if something had happened to me earlier in my life, to raise my kids and be around my kids. And I can look parents in the eyes and say, trust your son with this man. And there's no doubt in my mind that I would. And I think he's not only a great coach, but a great person. And that has all to do with how good your program gets. And there's no doubt about it that behind closed doors, what you see is what you get with Coach Sumlin, and I like what I see.
Mm-hmm. And Texas A&M, they'll take on Mississippi State this weekend over in Starkville as this month of November really gets going. We've got A.D. Scott Woodward with us right here inside Studio 12. Will Johnson, Matt Simon with you. And you start at A&M, and you're coming up right on a year. At the end of, I guess, December or rolling into January will be a year for you. Any pleasant surprises about this school that have struck you, or even maybe the other way around, something you didn't know beforehand that maybe needs to get fixed? Anything that jumps out at you almost a year on the job is something that maybe surprised you at all, or have you kind of gotten what you thought thus far at Texas A&M?
Yeah, and I've said it numerous times before. Most all of my surprises have been pleasant surprises. Mm-hmm. And this university is so great, and this athletic department is so good that we have a very good, solid base to start with and to continue to get better. But as we know, the higher you climb the mountain, the higher you get to the top, the more treacherous it gets. And so we need to be smart about how we do it and continue to get better. And whether it's upping our graduation rates, our GPAs, our performance on the field or courts, what we do in the community, all these things matter, and we need to continue to get better and better at it. And then, I caution everyone is that infallibility is not something that's going to happen here. Mm-hmm. We're going to strive and stress to be perfect, but it's not going to happen. And we're going to make mistakes, whether it's administrators, coaches, student athletes, anyone involved. There are going to be mistakes, and we're going to have to deal with them in a fair and judicious way, and look not to be punitive first, but to be supportive and rehabilitative. Mm-hmm. when we do make those mistakes. And so I'll caution everyone is that, hey, they're good times, they're great times, but hey, we are human beings, and the good news is we're Aggies, and Aggies believed in that, and we pick up our folks and we rally around them, and that's the fun part about it. And if you ask about a surprise, it's not a surprise to me, but it's something that I delight in and day out, or how much Aggies support Aggies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned just a second ago about APR, graduation rates, all that stuff. On Saturday's game, all of the student athletes that have made the honor roll, the athletic director honor roll, were brought out. The ones that were here, of course. Some are still playing and competing. But how cool is that for you to see those kids get that recognition in front of 90-something thousand fans? And you're trying to accomplish so many things in their lives. You're trying to help them succeed on the fields and succeed professionally, and also make them just better people as they grow up. How special is that for you to kind of see that?
Well, I look at it in two ways. One is the obvious one, like you said. It is so cool to see those kids achieving at a high level and doing great things. But on the other hand, personally, it gives me an inferiority complex. These kids are so damn smart, and they do it on such a rigid schedule. I couldn't do that in a million years. I mean, my God. And I just shake my head and just go, do you realize how much they do? I mean, day in and day out, and how much of a life changer it's going to be for them and their careers and what they do. And I'm just thinking, my goodness, there's no limit to the success that they can have.
Yeah, Will and I were out there right before that started, and they said, you guys, your GPA, no, let's go ahead and get off the field. You guys go ahead and go ahead and move off the field there.
Yeah.
Well, and they're also, there are things that they have to do that maybe other regular students don't. They're required to go to certain things. They're required to be at class, where that's not always the case depending on it. I'm constantly amazed at if you took a kid's schedule and just looked and see what they had to do day in, day out, like you said, it blows me away. Unbelievable.
Yeah, it really is. And I'm envious of it, too, to be given this opportunity to have a world-class education and to have hot and cold running everything. I mean, we probably ate, I know I did, Chef Boyardee at lunch many a day for 49 cents a can or 59 cents a can. And you go into the Slocum Center and you see them just having great things. And we're proud to do that, and we're happy to do it. They're not coddled or spoiled. They earn it. And it's going to give them a great jump in life no matter what they decide to do, whether pursue their sport for a while and then go on to their second career, or go on to their career as an earner right out of college. Yeah. They're going to be prepared and ready.
And plus, they go to class, they're in practice, they compete in front of thousands. And then in today's world, they do it more scrutinized than anybody in history due to the social media, due to the coverage that happens in college athletics now. And I know you've mentioned, I think on a past show with us, that the technology in today's world of how college athletics is covered is just a true game changer. And it really is for the administration here, too, as well. Is it something you always kind of have to tackle, or at least try to get your arms around it as best you can, just the social media, the coverage, and the technology aspect of this?
Yeah, you do, and you have to be smart about it. And you need to teach your kids that it's a blessing and a curse. You can get good things out in a hurry, and you can get bad things out in a hurry. And you can make mistakes, and they're almost irretrievable. And once it's out there, it's out there. So if you talk to them about it and you're positive about it, and you respect what you should respect, I think in the end it can be a very good learning experience in how you deal with it. And it's a powerful tool, but treat it with respect.
Mm-hmm.
Director of Athletics Scott Woodward with us here on Studio 12. Matt Simon, Will Johnson with you here. We're talking all this about football, justifiably so. We're going to talk a whole lot more about football, but you've got a sport that's going to kick things off. They've unofficially already kicked off, but they're going to kick things off here in the next week or two. It's basketball.
Actually, tip-off, Matt.
Tip-off?
You tip-off in that
okay.
sport.
See, I should probably know that. Basketball. My high school wasn't very good at basketball. We didn't really follow it down there back in New Orleans. Billy Kennedy and his basketball team, the SEC champs as they enter this season. They've got another fun home schedule, and I think they seem to me to be the kind of team that might fly under the radar this year because of what they lost, but they've got a whole lot of talent coming back, don't they?
They do, and you raise the point, and it's a good one, that we lost a lot of our production and a lot of our leadership on that team. And but we do have young talent coming in, and it's going to be interesting to see how Coach coaches them up and gets them going, because it'll be different style of ball with the talent that we have. But there's no doubt it'll be fun. The kids are great. They're fun to be around, and I think they'll be very competitive this basketball season. Sweet 16 or beyond, we'll see. I mean,
Yeah.
a lot of good things and a lot of breaks have to go our way, but I expect continued good things going forward with this program.
And that's, I think, maybe you talk about how Aggies support each other, and Aggies are always there to help each other. You look at what these fans here are able to, because you're in the SEC. You look at these teams that are coming in, and just in the month of November, you're going to have a USC basketball team come in. You got LSU and Ole Miss coming in for football. That doesn't count volleyball schedule. You've got in basketball in the spring, you got Kentucky and all these other schools. Pretty special opportunity for fans to get to see some incredibly high-level athletics here on this campus, huh?
Without a doubt, Matt. And I implore them to come out. I know everyone has obligations and busy schedules, but it's fun. It's great value, and once you do it, you'll find it rewarding, because I certainly do,
Yeah.
and I think the majority of our fans that come out do, and it's going to be a great continued fall and into the winter and spring. It's going to be another banner year.
Billy Kennedy and his men, they tip off November 11th. Well, they've got the exhibition coming up. First regular season game November 11th. That USC game, that's November 18th. That'll be a quality matchup with the Pac-12. But always interesting and fun to watch his team go. And before you go, Scott, this week marked Halloween. Now, we were talking about Kevin Sumlin. Now, this is a guy that digs into Halloween. I don't know if he's told you this or not, but he dresses up. He still wears the mask around town and
He
takes
tries to
his
sneak
kids
away.
away.
Yeah.
Are you a Halloween guy? No.
Unfortunately, I'm not. I'm pretty boring, guys. I hate to admit it, but I'm pretty staid in that kind of sense.
Well, you're the one with the two little ones. What's your costume?
It's two ladybugs. I mean, well, I'm not wearing one, but we got them around in a couple of ladybug costumes. So
Little ladybug. Yeah.
they were good to go.
Yeah, Coach said he would go. This was a couple of years ago. We had him on the show on Halloween. He said he would go and dress up with a couple of other coaches and all the kids, and then see if they can get through their neighborhood without getting recognized.
Yeah.
It's pretty funny.
Well, I wonder if Coach Sumlin leaves any candy to the kids. I mean, this guy, I'm telling you, Scott, he digs into Halloween. He gets after it. He loves it.
funny.
He's always gone trick or treat, and he still does.
Yeah.
Yeah, the public can look for him out there next year. Figure it out. But hey, it's fun. It's November. Basketball's cranking up. Football's trying to make this stretch run that, as you said, we hope we remember November when it's all said and done. But we'll see you in Starkville this Saturday. All the best to the Aggies against Mississippi State. Thanks so much for your time.
Great. Thanks for having me.